to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse. Thank you for watching, Jalen Brunson. This is State of the Game. I'm assuming Jalen Brunson's watching. Although he's playing the Pacers right now. He'll watch later. But this is State of the Game. I am your host, Dan O. And if you could do one thing for me, listener, viewer, supporter, look up Ice Cube's interview of Al Davis from the 30 for 30 on the Raiders and watch that. Watch that piece of footage. That's an incredible hang. Check that out. But yes, I am here every week, and that is all I would ask of you. My co-host who joins me every week, Kay Diggy, would ask of you to buy your Nana a better gift than last year. Come on now.
Do better.
Step up.
Do better.
Step up. So, yeah, she already got that gift card, you know? So so we have here today with us I always get excited for people that I was nuts for before I even started doing this shit, which is not nothing, right? 2010 I started doing this shit. We're talking about people I loved way before that. This is one of my cold basement superheroes, cold garage superheroes, man. We're in Maine, right? We were just, hanging out in Finch Street in the garage. They didn't care what he did, my homie. And we were the soundtrack, Hieroglyphics was the soundtrack to a lot of those days. So I heard a lot of this. I heard a lot of Pep Love, man. And there was Ascension had this following that was so serious. It was beautiful. So I'm so happy to have you here. You are releasing the physical experience of Acres of Diamonds, right? Cassettes and vinyl available through shophyro.com. And it's a very interesting move, especially for me because I pre-ordered the digital on Bandcamp. That got pulled, but
it's still gonna come out. But we're doing the vinyl on the cassettes first.
It's a special project, and I can't wait to talk about it with you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've talked to Kay about this endlessly, right? To me, there are three monumental, perfect rap crews, right? And it's Dungeon Family, Hyro, and Wu. That's just my opinion, right? The reason I think it's so special that those crews, each crew, was because there were diehard supporters of lots of different folks. I had a homie who was convinced that A plus was just nobody to be fucked with. Like A plus was the person, you know? Production level, rap level, like just the best. And known lots of casual people, and everybody had a following, as diehards. You could pick your flavor, and it was dope. But I think Ascension, I just remember people being like, man, Pep Love is the deep one. He's like searching his soul and shit, he's like thoughtful and shit, but he's still spitting like crazy. And there was always somebody in everybody's crew who was like that, So we were always, it always had a place for us. Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about, certainly in that sense, but what is your relationship like with Hyro fans. How has that evolved over the years?
Um, it's definitely evolved in um what I would say like certain unexpected ways because I've had I put out other music since that album, but
Right.
that was that was like the jump off. It was my first album. It
Yep.
was around the time we it was not long after we just everybody was independent. So we had a lot. I think we had more fans that were um, directly like there was a direct continuity from the first Hyro album, Third Eye Vision, even from
Yep.
the days when everybody had a record deal, when the Souls were on Jive with 93 Till Infinity. Cash was on Jive also with his album Fear Itself. Dell had dropped a couple of albums on Elektra with I Wish My Brother George Was Here. And
Mhm.
what was the name of his second album?
Future Development, right? No,
No,
I thought Future Development was on the shelf. Oh, No Need for Alarm. No Need for
No
Alarm.
Need for Alarm.
Yeah,
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 yeah. So, mm,
yeah. Yep.
um, that was a whole period where there was a little bit more continuity
Yeah.
from one project to anticipation for the next project to the next project. Things were a little bit closer together. So you can look at that first chunk of years from like early 90s to 2000 as one thing,
Hmm.
even up to when Ascension came out. But then the music business just changed so much. Everybody was scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. We're independent, but there was a lot of just, negative um, talk, like a lot of pessimistic talk. Oh, people don't buy records anymore. It's the music
Yeah.
industry is over. Music has no value anymore. It's free now. Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
yeah, this is even before streaming. Oh, it's just downloading. People are going to pirate your shit anyway. So you might as well give your music away for free. It's just a way to gain fame and popularity, I guess.
Mm.
Hmm.
And where
So,
did you stand? Oh, sorry.
Well, the one thing I was going to ask, so of course, an independent record company will struggle to find the motivation to still want to put out records when it's like everything's a question mark. So there start to be gaps in between releases
mhm.
and alternative releases, not coming out directly through our independent label. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. So in certain ways, people didn't even know about some of the other music the music that I was dropping. This EP here, these songs here.
Mhm. Mhm.
Some of the Hyro fans missed those releases, but the people who like fuck with me, who like my music and like what I represent, some knew. They just like, who is this? This is a cool song, but it was I won't say it was intentional, but there was a redefinition going on because we trying to reestablish a connection to people who love hip hop and love music and love us in particular, but just love hip hop and love music and who are willing to go out and pay for it and buy a record or buy a ticket to a show or whatever. So it's almost like and time has gone by. These are different people now. These are new kids.
Yep.
So it's an interesting relationship because I don't necessarily think it's the same people anymore. You know,
Oh, it's a great point.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's developed and evolved.
Yeah.
Um, and
Which is cool, which is cool.
it's grown at a point. And by the way, um, shout out to Ben Pedroche, who put out a book called Independent as Fuck,
Hmm.
tracking independent hip hop in the 1995 to '05. And he's got different sections of the book, and one of them is just like really important labels. And
Hmm.
the Hyro section, when he broke down all the releases that were each year, I was like, damn, this might be the best like 5 to 7 year run of any independent hip hop label. Like just flawless banger, like just oh, that album's amazing. That album's amazing. To go from hit to hit. Because as you know, being in this game for so long, independent rap labels will have like a few strong years and they'll kind of get confused as to what to do,
Yep.
and lose traction or add people that don't make sense,
Yep.
like it. And one of the things about Hyro, and I guess TDE reminded me of it early on, right? Where it was like, this is a brotherhood. This isn't necessarily just a label, you know? It
Yep.
felt like, because you felt that on Third Eye Vision, right? Like everybody could rap together because everybody makes sense together.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, we've been able because we've gone through the same shit, lost a little bit of I would say motivation because the whole money thing and how much, how do we profit from this? But it's luckily it's after we already, got some business assets together and we have a catalog and we have a merch brand that has stood the test of time. That people recognize the logo. It's and
Right.
all the quirk that goes along with Hyro and our fan base that is, you know, kind of like a nostalgia thing. Like I said, the people who like, oh yeah, the Hyro logo and Hyro this and Hyro that, you know, they're harkening back to a time before. And I do believe that like there's just always new people that are starting to discover and love hip hop, and love music and be, in that phase of life to where they go out and want to be, at the next show. Even as that whole thing kind of evolves and changes to something else, it's very corporatized now. Like all the
Right.
venues are all owned by whatever Live Nation or something,
Right.
and ticket prices are higher. It's the grassroots movement of local, the local hip hop community being the conduit by which shows get promoted and everybody knows and wants to go to the show. It's not as much like that anymore.
Right.
It's more about festivals.
Yeah.
Um, so like in a lot of ways, we kind of like are us independent, artists that have like legacy connections to the 90s and shit like that.
Mhm.
It's almost like it's incumbent upon us to be the promoters, the definers. We got to redefine hip hop to and not hip hop, but just like our relationship to the music industry and the music market and the fans. We kind of have to redefine it based on what is most advantageous for us. Not like, okay, well, this is just how it is nowadays, and you got to da 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 da. There is some of that to it. I was talking to A Plus the other day, and we were just like, damn, it seems like the promoters expect the art. Like you book a artist to perform at a event, and it's almost like they want us to do the promotion. Could you post this
Right.
on?
Right.
And I'm like, well, what part of the promotion do they do? What is the promoter and the venue and the talent buyer? What is their connection to the hip hop community that makes, people who love hip hop? Because that's how it always used to be. It was more a whole community thing. We would have little in stores at, um the streetwear shop, and the record shop, and the places where these kids like to hang out at, and it's uh it's not as much like that,
Right.
like before. It really was like smart people that were connected to the culture and to the community, and maybe they, were the can't the on campus promoter for, you know events at UC Berkeley or at San Francisco State or UCLA. It was like this collegiate connection, and then they were able to parlay that into the real world and the community. And it's not as much it's not as much like that. So this music that we're doing now is to kind of find a way to reestablish some real grassroots community connection, because the people who book shows are more of a corporate mind state. They don't have the community mind state. So to tap in with, the people at the barbershop or whatever. And so it's more incumbent upon the artists to be the ones that set the tone. Like this is kind of continuing on with the answer that I gave you about the evolving of the connection between us and the fans. And like I said, like it's a different time, a different era, and it's almost like we have to set the foundation and set the basic scenery first. And there's a lot of different ways in which people have that memorable, I'd say, experience with music.
Right. Where's the community gathering? You know what I mean? Like if
Exactly.
it used to be gathering in these places, and now where are they? Where are people? And that's a real question. The
It is.
promoter thing is definitely something we've heard from a bunch of people of
Yeah.
like they're not promoting the events, and then they're mad when people aren't showing. You're like you're not promoting your own stuff. It's a head scratch.
And at the end of the day, if they don't come right out and say, "Look, we're not going to promote this show. We expect you to do that." They don't come right out and say it.
Right.
So there's a little bit of static there to where the artists are like, "Well, why didn't they promote? What the hell? What's going on? Why doesn't it?" And then we as artists got to realize, well, shit, they got this thing called Polestar where they like are actually keeping up data about the numbers that we sell, and they're not. This doesn't reflect bad against the promoter or the venue. It reflects bad against the artist and your ability to get booked. So at the end of the day, if it's only going to affect us, and they can throw a bad show, maybe they'll lose money or whatever. But what they'll do is just not book me again, or they'll put those bad numbers on Polestar, and it'll make it harder for me to do what I'm trying to do. So I guess, fuck, they got us by the balls, and we have to start. We have to, even though we might have got booked by uh, another Planet Entertainment or Golden Voice or whatever. We might have got booked by the promoter or the venue, but we can't just leave it to the people on that side to be like, well, shit, they must know what they're doing. They're going to promote the hell out of this event. It's going to be popping. We
Right.
can't expect that. It's not a given.
That
How do you think the relationship between promoter and artist has evolved over the past few decades? Like, what is the shift that you've seen?
I think the shift is that people are so heavily invested in promoting on social media, and the outreach that the artist has, how many followers or whatever, that they made that the whole thing, not like a side thing. They made it the whole thing. Like, okay, could you repost? And sometimes it's just Instagram. It's not even like, yeah, we need to do this on Twitter. We need to do this on Instagram. We need to do this on Facebook. They just really is just one thing. So it's gotten narrower and narrower, the avenues in which that they're willing to traverse to make a connection with the audience. And it goes for us as artists too. Like, we put out new music or whatever, and basically all of the boosted post on Instagram is as far as it goes. We're
Right.
not
Mm.
putting out posters on the street. We're not like going on a little, city to city promo tour and you know, using our wits to to put ourselves in front of people and shit and getting, that real world experience. We're not doing that as much. And the more I think that it's gotten that way to where it's like the main focus turned into the only focus. The focus of promotion, connection with the hip hop community in general turned into, well, you need to get your followers up and talk and have more, you need to post more and promote yourself more
Mm.
on social media we need to well, I need you to collaborate on this post and da da da, and it just became only that. Not like we're not getting no posters made. We're not going to do no snipes. We're not gonna go city to city. We're not gonna go through Texas and go through Missouri all the way to Mississippi to Miami, Atlanta, and all over the states trying to like spread the word. It's not like that. Well,
Right. And
not like that anymore. It's just that's not the first inclination of the
right.
artists, the promoters to do.
And the
It
problem is you
becomes
can
less of
do
a real world thing. It becomes like a digital reality thing instead of like, we go to these places, talk to people, shake hands, kiss babies type shit.
right. You never like and what you highlighted that I think is really important is if you go and your focus is social media, that's how you're selling this. One of the problems of that is you're only really hitting your people and whoever the algorithm decides would be good for you,
Yep.
but you don't get the random interactions you
Yep.
would when you're doing an in-store at a record store and people are coming to just coming in, and being, oh, who is this?
Mm.
You don't get that. And so
You don't get
that's
those, you don't get those intangible, like, oh, I just happened to be walking by and these guys were doing this and I saw this shit and I might have just learned about them for the first time and I like it. I like hip hop. I just didn't know who you were. And now I do.
yeah,
We're basically aiming for people who already fuck with us. But they may have
Mm.
been, or that person who's a fan who followed me, who's following me, they may have followed me like 3 years ago. And in this point of their life, they're not going out to shows and buying new music as much, you know?
right, right.
Instead of being like the person who never heard of me, but this person is very enthusiastic to learn more and to get more immersed in hip hop and who the dope artists are, but they may have just entered into that phase in their life, so they may not already be a follower of me or Hyro or whatever. And so we almost are forgetting about the whole thing of bringing new people in because it's always turning over. There's new people all the time. The people that are 18 now were 15 3 years ago. The people who were 21 now were 18 3 years ago. And those wheels continue to turn. So you can't really just rest on the people who already follow you. Those people their lives are evolving. People are
Mhm.
coming in and
Mm.
out of that. So that's one of the short-sighted things that I think about strictly focusing on promoting in social media. You're not just getting the random eyes. People almost act like, oh man, the real we're promoting and doing stuff in the real world. That don't even mean nothing no more. Like the basic fundamental thing about how humans socialize has become obsolete. The
Right.
idea of obsolescence has been overplayed, I think, because just because Apple puts out a new iPhone every year, we're not putting out a new model of human mind and uh inter uh intercommunal relations. That's not really getting redefined as quick as people think it is. People still kind of function the same that way. They just don't necessarily have the same things available to them as far as real world connection. It's been taken away from us a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the Donald Trump when COVID was happening said like we should just not like talk to each other, and we probably should have been doing that for a while. Like it was like he said, like we basically should have been distancing for a while. Like we should have been finding a way to get all this delivered for a while. Like it was like why were we still outside? You know? And of course, Donald Trump sounds ridiculous when he says stuff, but a lot of people kind of,
People think like that anyway.
agreed. You know what I'm saying? Like they were doing that. Like, it would, and so it's become like it makes, hey, let's get the groceries delivered. Let's get the like, and it's not there's less going outside than there ever
Yeah,
was.
I mean, it'll eventually be like that movie Idiocracy, where people, chilling at home and they're in the lazy boy recliner chair is like this
Yep.
big fancy toilet in the living room. They don't even they just eat shit and watch TV the whole time.
Yep. No, it's real. It, but the thing about High Road is amazing is how it survived and grown and thrived. You were talking about the Napster period, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
Napster went crazy and the labels were terrified. Was that 05 ish? Was that what do you were
I
you
thought that start. I mean, I think it started in the late '90s, like
Yeah.
around.
Oh, one,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
2000, 2001.
2001. Okay. That's sort of thing. So it was one of the reasons I think you guys thrived while others fell. This is just my hypothesis here, is because I learned about hieroglyphics from skateboarders, right? Like skateboarders hung out and played skate videos, and that was the soundtrack, right? Like those skate videos had a bunch of hyro popping in the background. And skate big skateboarders in 2000 were very different folks, right? Like they did their DVDs or VHSs were not available everywhere, right? Like there wasn't a bunch of ESPNs to watch to see this shit. So
Yeah, yeah,
they were used to going to little stores to get their shit, you know? And so they shopped in a different way. They didn't shop at the same stores. They didn't wear the same clothes. They didn't have the same philosophies. They were not a fly by night, I guess I'll just download it crowd, in my estimation. They were kind of a loyal set. And when they hooked in with you guys, it gave you guys a different trajectory in. Am I making this all up or did any of this happen?
No, no, yeah, definitely, definitely. It
Yep.
it definitely. I'm sorry.
No, they were used to physical things. Like they wanted the Hyro logo on their deck. They wanted, the merch. They wanted the CDs. They wanted, the
well,
action. Yeah.
I think underground hip hop at that time was countercultural, and I think
Mm.
that the counter uh culturality, I don't know if that's a word, resonated with the skateboarders.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so they're like, oh, like you guys don't like the same things we like. Okay, you like this hip hop underground hip hop thing, and us, we're on the same page. We're seeing eye to eye on things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dell had a lot to do with that because he was like really into like this whole Japanese art and
Mhm,
anime and writing
mhm.
stuff. And some of his design type stuff I think inspired certain individuals, and just that whole skate culture in general, like you said, is kind of a counterculture, kind of a like obscure thing about, really just being into what you're into and not really worrying about what's cool or what other people like, even though the street skating became a whole phenomenon
Right.
in and of
Yeah,
itself. But it was like you said, it was a very counterculture thing where they were unapologetic about being on the shit that they on and that they like, even if it's not the whole world all on it at the same time. And I think that's one of the ways that the whole street skating culture really gained a lot of its traction is by being so um what is it called? That whole rebel energy, that whole like we
Right.
do we want to that unashamedly, uh true authentic and true to your its own self and its own standards of
Yeah.
itself. And during that time, there was a because Dell kind of embodies that in a lot of ways as an artist. There's a guy by the name of Jacob Rosenberg who is a filmmaker, and he's from Palo Alto, and he was one of those kids that hung out at the Embarcadero Square in San Francisco and would
Right.
film all the skaters. Some really important guys that went on to be pro skaters like Javante Turner, uh, Mike Carroll, um, just to name a few. That was a whole, that was one of the strongest scenes for street skating in the country. And he made those videos, had a lot of Dell's music and a lot of, Hyro stuff. And he went on to shoot videos for us. And I think that rippled because it was very what is it called? Emblematic, I guess, of the skate scene mixed with the hip hop scene, mixed with the whole Bay Area
Hmm.
rap scene in general. And that was because there was this genuine connection, you know,
Yep.
of this unique, quirky, like art, special, interest type stuff that Dell would do with the whole kanji writing and the whole
Yep.
Japanese aesthetic thing and just like his psychedelic style, you know.
Mm. That's a great, yeah. I mean, you were describing it. I was like, man, I never skated, but I was hanging around skaters for two reasons. Number one, they enjoyed the fact that I was weird. They didn't think that was a bad thing. And they they didn't mind that I was broke and couldn't afford great clothes.
Exactly. You don't
And
know.
so they were just it was a different crowd, man. Like they yeah. So and that Hyro made sense for what they were doing. Um and some of that like to get to the style thing, right? Like because I've been thinking about this. I don't know. The hieroglyphics was sometimes like I'll read the greatest poets in the world. Ada Limon, right? One of the greatest poets in the world. And that stuff is built for the page. It's built for your eye to take it in and take in the spaces and the commas and everything, right? Sometimes when those poets read their poetry, they don't know how to do it because it's built for the page, right? You guys were like, this is a physical act, right? And we're
Right.
going to do this uh, superb. And we're going to do it superb over and over again. We're always ready to do it superbly, you know? And that it was kinetic, not, you know what I mean? It was, and so I think that's you took back the physical activity of I'm rapping my ass off. Um, and they were that connected to that set because they were always doing shit in actuality as well, physical acts. Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
So yeah, it was that was important to get to get that out there. But the other thing, a Hyro note here, is you destroyed something completely, which I've been thinking about.
What's that?
You're gonna love this. There was a myth that West Coast rappers weren't real lyricists, right? If you try to explain it now, people will be like, "That's insane. How could anyone ever say that?" Right? But back in the day, the myth was built around West Coast rappers having charisma and style, but not being technical technicians, right? This is kind of built off of Too Short, Ice-T, right? This kind of stuff. But when you were a part of a generation, like the Good Life people, right? Fellowship, Mike and Nine, High Row, you guys exploded, and there's no denying that there's technical stuff happening. There's no
Yeah.
denying that there's skills on the
It
table.
all it already was. I think we were just, one of the groups to kind of highlight it. But there were already like super lyrical West Coast rappers,
Yep,
that
yep.
just, maybe didn't get their due. Too Short had a dude by the name of Hassani in his crew.
Oh, good call.
I think he ended up being called Goldie. The Hassani ended up being Goldie the Mac or something like that. He
Yeah,
changed his name to Goldie, but he was super lyrical.
right.
Def Jeff from LA, super lyrical. These
Right.
are guys that came before us. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hassani and Def Jeff both came out before us. Father Dom was lyrical. Um,
When does the coup kick off? Is that before you, or is that
Around the same
around
time.
the same time? Okay, makes
Around the
sense.
same time.
But yeah, and you know, even Quick's crew had technicians in there doing great work. Um,
Yeah, 100%. Like
yeah, but it was,
it was
yeah,
always there. You know, Everybody has their sensibilities, and to make it just be like a whole region is just the same way is like it doesn't make sense. Like there's variety within a family, let alone within a whole state and a
right,
whole region. And it was necessary. That was part of our passion. Like we about to show people that there is, high caliber artistry in hip hop coming from where we from.
right,
High caliber wordsmithing coming from Oakland. Because,
right.
in a lot of ways, we more on some conscious shit too. So it's like people want to associate this city and romanticize the problems that we got going on in the city,
Mhm,
the
mhm.
drugs, the violence, the the poor education statistics. People want to act like that's cool, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about the other artists like
Yeah.
that portray that a lot. And I'm not saying it as a criticism to anybody. Like you can be on some gangster shit, pimp shit, whatever,
Right.
it's fine. But there has to be uh a representation of other aspects for a realistic picture to be drawn, and for us to come out the way we did, the souls like on that ninth read till infinity tip, they showing the shit, some of the things that people come to California to see anyway, the beach, the pinnacles, Yosemite Park, like, and the gritty urban environment that we come from, mixed with the sense of cultural refinement and, you know, witty wordplay is something that gives people a more complete view of the reality of where, you know, or really what the grassroots development of hip hop culture in the community. There's all different kinds of people with different backgrounds and pedigrees, and there's, it's in San Francisco in the Bay Area, there is a rich history of music and jazz and blues clubs and black community coming together to create these little, nooks and what are they called? Like, districts, business districts, the Fillmore district, the seventh street, um West Oakland, the seventh street corridor, where, Slim Jenkins and the Orbit Room and all of these historic black establishments that used to bring some of the jazz greats there. This is all part of the history of where we're from, the Black Panthers. There's some real things to explore conceptually that would easily just get glossed over and not even and not even recognized if it wasn't for artists like Hyro that are, you know, making it a point to show um an alternative point of view to that which is popularized or romanticized or uh the prominent thing that people hear or associate our region and rap with, you know. There's nothing wrong with the Too Short shit. There's nothing wrong with the E40s. There's nothing wrong with the rap, the street rap, the you know, the RBL posses, the all of the more depicting the gritty realities of the some of the urban some of the urban issues
Right.
that we have all over the country.
So do you feel like it was a conscious decision for your group to develop in that way to kind of counteract the, I guess, musical environment that you guys were in?
No, I just think we just a certain group of individuals had these sensibilities anyway. You know,
Okay.
it definitely has something to do with socioeconomic class. You know, we I think are all a little bit more from middle kind of class homes, parents that are a little bit more educated. I personally, you know, my I have a background with my parents were my dad was a civil rights activist. My mom, we moved to California from Mississippi so my mom could pursue her PhD at UC Berkeley in anthropology. So, and I'm, you know, that's just kind of like in general our as far as the whole circle of friends in Hyro, in general, we kind of all have like more of educated parents and uh, you know, a background of more of a middle class. So we were exposed to things that, you know, I think a lot of the kids that were growing up in Oakland during the that period in time were deprived of because of the crack epidemic being, you know, rolling out around that time and the violence and the what is it called? The community attack, you know,
Right.
what is it? The marginalization of
Yep.
certain communities. So I think in other eras, more people from the inner city were a little bit more exposed to a more wide array of experiences than they were in the early 80s and because there was some real trouble brewing in the early 80s in the black community. And so a lot of kids were marginalized during that time. And so that's one of the reasons why when rap started to get more and more popular, it started to get more and more to be like a depiction of the gritty realities in the city and in the black neighborhood. You know, people are just rapping about what they're talking about, thinking about, making music about what is going on in around them in their communities. And some of it is like a depiction of um marginalization and deprivation, being deprived of greater experiences. So that's why that was going on anyway. So I would just say, like, for the most part, we were just a little bit more just normal kids in that era that didn't washed get pulled into, you know, some of the
undertow,
the undertow of what was going on in the city anyway.
Yeah, no, that
We were,
makes
we
sense.
were a little bit more normal kids.
The other thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the ramifications of Hyro.
Mhm.
because so hip hop is still it when you guys start this label is still fairly young, right? And there's new generations of people that are discovering hip hop, right? And being like, oh my God, the first, rap album I ever cared about was Snoop, and now I'm a hip hop fan, and now we're in, right?
Mhm.
And High Row was the first time we knew labels could suck, like major labels, right? Like we didn't think about that shit. We were just kids taking in music, right? And then followed Dell from the first album to No Need for Alarm, and they were like they dropped him because the third one they didn't like it, and we got you guys put it out, Future Development, and it's awesome. It's one of our favorite Dell albums, and we're like, how did you drop this? Like your stories of having to go around and circumvent these major label problems taught us that there were major label problems
Yeah.
uh, in a lot of ways. So I wanted to give you credit for that. That's got to be. Do you get that where people were like, "You were the first independent artist I supported," or something like that?
No, the people would just be like, you guys created that whole underground touring circuit to where you were not even on a major label and you
Yeah,
guys still booked the tour around the world, around the country, the world or whatever.
yeah,
And, I didn't even realize it at that time, but I guess there was nobody else really doing that before us. Like,
yeah,
even though none of us has a deal, it was almost like an aha moment. Oh, like, wait a minute, you don't need a deal to book a tour. If people are willing to book the tour, you can book the tour, and I think we get that a lot. Like you guys were the first ones to just be like still like out on the road, showing up venue and venue and venue. Y'all don't even got no new song on the radio or whatever. And it's not even about that really. So yeah, I mean the independent thing just, was a way to keep going. And what you were saying about like all of a sudden they like they drop an artist that's got good albums. Um, just because there was a point where the music industry decided that they knew what sold in hip hop. Before they were like just kind of going with what the
yep,
community said or
yep,
what the DJ was breaking in the club or whatever. And that's one of the places that it needs to get back to where the artists and the people that are part of the community are setting the tone. Because if that's not the case, then there will cease to be a community. We will
yep,
just be taking our cue from people that are in the boardroom office that don't even really go out and
right,
be amongst the world like that. And
right,
so it doesn't even and that means the whole thing's going to dry up because they're not even they're not even they're not a part of the circuit or whatever, the circuitry or whatever that makes people
yep,
be like all at the same time buzzing off something, liking something, wanting to be a part of something, making something cool and hip. And it has to get back to the point to where the people in the world are like, have the people have spoken. Now you guys that are in the business of getting things to the people, you listen to what the people are telling you about what they are into and what they're feeling or what this culture is, and then you guys can try to commodify it one way or the other. But it seems like in a lot of ways that corporations, big labels, they're divesting themselves from hip hop, and it's soon it's looking like it's back in our hands. One of the reasons why I've released my album the way I have, it's like okay, there's not a general machinery that I can just run my shit through, and it's like this is how this works.
right,
And we're here to facilitate your dreams as an artist and to facilitate the fans' desire as music listeners. there's no there's no thing like that anymore. And it's not
right,
just because I don't have a record deal and I'm not signed and they're not beating down my door to fuck with me. there's a lot of signs in general that that's just it's just not happening anymore. And one of the reasons that Dell got dropped right when that record came out is because a new person who was part of this new class of executives that now felt like, okay, we know what is cool and what sells in hip hop anymore. We don't need to take our cue from the artist and grassroots promoters and DJs that break records anymore. We know now. We old Jewish guy, old
Straight up.
white guy. We who are older people and who are people from that are not street people who are not part of that community. Older educated black woman who is just a marketing, PhD or whatever. She's busting her ass trying to manifest her ambition as being a marketing expert. She's not just like a passionate music lover, and this just getting this job at this label is just a outgrowth of her interest in music. It's just these people that have agendas that are based on their professional ambitions and not based on wanting to push a culture forward. Those people started to be like the dictators of, and they know what's cool and hip more than the artists do, and
Yeah.
that had a huge thing to play. I think the lady's name or the executive's name who took over the role of the president of Elektra Records, her name was Sylvia Rhone.
Yes, Sylvia Rhone.
Yes,
Yep.
I'm not
No, you're
mistaken. Yeah. And it was basically her on her own. But she was, like I said, she was part of a class of new executives and presidents that were coming in and being like, nope, none of that shit no more. None of this boom bap. You guys with backpacks on and, smoking blunts or whatever the hell y'all doing. No more of that. We need stuff. We need diamonds and Rolexes and shiny suits now.
Yeah.
It's time for that. And street shit and, the records that are made for the strip club, not made for the block party.
Right.
They decided that, and they decided that unilaterally, basically. And she was one of the new people that was like, okay, I'm here on the scene to clean up all of this dirty boom bap underground rap shit, and we don't need Dell anymore. I don't know what artist Elektra put out after Sylvia became the head of Elektra Records, but all I know is that our guy Dante Ross,
Yep.
he was like, "Oh, I'm not working for her." Me and my dude J Biz got a deal. We just were about to I think we signed the contract and everything.
Right.
And Dante was like, "Look, man, wait, what's going on here at Elektra since Sylvia took over?" He's like, "I don't want to work here anymore." And so he was a super hip hop guy. He was the guy that he was the guy. He was the ear to the street guy that also was a producer and made beats. Those guys, once people like Sylvia Rhone came in, those guys started to leave. They started to exit, and that had a lot to do with that kind of major labels. What is it called? Divesting themselves from hip hop, it seemed in a way, and certain kind of artists, more hardcore hip hop artists, divesting themselves from the major label record industry, and a lot of indie rap started to come out. A lot of more artists putting their shit out through Fat Beats, and and it honestly, I think things did die down a lot during that time in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, after a certain point, with 95 or so, like you start to see people in suits telling artists they're not gangster enough on like some Hollywood Shuffle stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, damn, that's what y'all want? Y'all want to see the worst of people?
right.
It sells. Hey, controversy sells. Sex sells. Violence sells.
They were looking at a 1-to-1 of like, all right, Snoop sold 4 million, right? Like they were looking at like, okay, they like it because it's gangster. It's like, No, they like it because Snoop is charismatic as fuck.
Yeah,
It
because it's good.
sounds like the summertime. Like it's not even. It doesn't even have anything to do with that. You know? Yeah.
That's one place where I give Kanye West props because he came and showed that it's not about that.
Right.
You know, that whole heads up thing that he did with 50 Cent in 2004.
Yep.
My album sells more than yours. And it did.
Something. Yeah.
And he's like, I don't gotta be you think that it's all about this tough street gritty,
Right.
you know, the gritty realities of all of the deprivation and shit that we deal with in the hood as black people, and the violence and the drugs and the money and the jail time and all of that is somehow glamorized, and you think that that's the thing that is drawing people to the music, but it's not. It's just good music. So
Right.
there's a good artist that put together a good album. He may be talking about that kind of stuff, but it's the quality of the art that dictates. It's not the the subject matter and
Yeah. When it came out
memorize.
and that single had Daft Punk, I think that kind of blew a lot of
Mhm.
things wide open. Of like, oh shit, I didn't even know that you could do that, and it would be
Yeah.
successful. So, yeah, credit there.
He showed a lot. He showed that the music is what the thing is. His album was better than fucking 50 Cent's album. You know, people have
Yeah,
heard that. You know, the
definitely.
whole shock of, oh my God, this guy is he's so rugged and so unapologetic, and
Yeah,
so brash and like, okay, now what? 50? He said get
I
rich
mean,
without trying. He got rich. You know what I'm saying? You're rich now. So what's next? And
yeah,
people are like, okay, we help facilitate your dream. You've made it now. Um, Now you're gonna do some incredible music, or what you're gonna do? But he went the movie direction, and Kanye West was the new voice of hip hop from that point on, and it
well,
wasn't
and
gangsta.
yeah, and I think what Kanye did is he started very purposely and strategically expanding out of hip hop.
Yep.
Like Late Registration had John Breon on it.
yeah,
Uh, the guy from Maroon 5,
Yep.
uh,
Very,
Daft Punk.
very,
Uh, but yet he was expanding his audience
very true.
very strategically outside of just hip hop.
Yeah, because those artists that you mentioned are like heavy in the dance music world, in the um
Alternative, like,
electronica world, and they
yeah,
already draw huge audiences. It's a sound that draws people to festivals and big concerts and
yes.
big outdoor, stadium experiences. And that was very smart actually, because
He
it's
was
like
working with Chris
this,
Martin, U2. Like,
right, right.
these are some of the biggest bands on earth.
exactly. It's almost like duh, like, oh yeah, that would be the obvious thing to do if you want to expand your fan base as an artist, is to start to tap in with that that brand of music that people are gathered, that people come out for. Like there's plenty of big shit, pop shit, whatever, but in particular music like Daft Punk, what is it, the singer guy that you mentioned first that he did, it's like he's
Maroon 5,
Maroon
Adam
Five,
Maroon
Levine.
Five, yeah,
Levine,
Adam Levine
yeah,
in Maroon Five, yeah, like
yeah,
people come out. That's rock music, but it has like a touch of that electronica stuff. He strategically made a connection and a correlation between hip hop and that big festival
Yeah,
music, and it really
yeah.
worked out well.
And then after Kanye, they started infiltrating hip hop itself. Pop did.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so instead of Kanye getting a collaboration with them, now Adam Levine is working with Kendrick Lamar,
yeah,
getting
yeah,
Cardi B on a
yeah,
song.
yeah. And it really was
It,
Kanye West that started that wave of the
oh,
pop electronica artists starting to come over to hip hop. Like we doing
yeah,
we saw how good
yeah.
it worked with Kanye West, and now we like shit. Well, we need more of this for us. He used us to boost his shit. Now we need, yeah, we Adam Levine wants to do songs with Kendrick.
yeah.
And
I
so,
think it's a
yeah,
beautiful marriage, and I really applaud him for doing it that way instead of trying to emulate. all of the shit that other artists were doing, and that is a that is a it puts a very narrow uh possibility for success. If the labels are like, oh, we only signing gangster rap, it narrows the field, it narrows the sound, it makes it to where it could easily get played out. The people just be
Yeah.
like, I don't listen to rap anymore. I got friends who are like that. Like, oh man, all this shit is just the same shit. And
Yeah.
it's all
Well,
talking about stuff because we all hella grown now. So, like, some of my friends are like, man, I don't want to play this. I don't want to play this music because my daughter's in the car. And I
Straight
don't
up,
want to
straight
hear,
up. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to be playing this around my kids because it's just so crazy. One of the things, and this is unfortunate, he was like, man, as soon as I hear a female rapper, like, like a Sexy Red or whatever, if we listen to the radio or Cardi B, he was like, as soon as I hear a female rapper, even hear her voice, she don't even gotta have said anything vulgar yet. But he was like, I know it's coming. And if I'm in the car with my daughter and I hear the voice of a female start to rap, I'm changing the station immediately. Because he
Yeah.
was like, female rap is almost 100% always vulgar, graphic sex rap.
Certainly on the radio, no question about that shit. But and the most important thing I think about that battle you mentioned, 50 versus Kanye, right? Is there's a philosophical thing that Kanye proves wrong. So 50 was of that school. I remember interviews with him where he was like, if the people love it, you keep serving. That's the mission, right? You
Mhm.
found something the people love, you keep serving it. And the problem is, if they already ate that, they're done with it, bro. Like this isn't like serving
Especially if
fiends. Like yeah,
they've been eating the same, my favorite meal is burgers and fries. And if I
right.
get burgers and fries every night for dinner, by Friday, I'm not even really going to be that excited anymore. And
Yeah.
that's just a week. And we talking about years and years and years of rap kind of being in the same little lane and pocket. So
Right.
people have been um thirsting for something different
Yep.
than just the same over and over and over again. I mean, maybe if you are selling widgets and maybe if you're selling fast food, people like burgers and fries, so we keep selling burgers and fries, right? Because people, and maybe not the same person is going to come back every time, but we know in general people have a uh affinity for hamburgers and French fries.
Right.
But music is art. It's mental pictures. People don't want to see the same mental picture, especially if it's
No.
not a happy one, you know?
Mm.
Right. Right. Yeah. And
Especially if it's not something that brings a mood of festiveness. Like
yep.
a lot of that gangster rap shit, that's one thing that I must be critical about is it got to the point to where they couldn't really throw events and parties and shit. It really made it to where uh the local scene, the clubs, the bars, they don't really want to host. They don't want you to promote something and have it say hip hop on the front. If you like it's just a party with a DJ spinning music, they don't want it to be a hip hop party because they like that means a bunch of thugs. I mean, and now it's been so long since it's been like that it's not really real anymore. Like now you just even struggling, just hoping to get people to come through the door. But there was a time when it was just like, okay, this rap is so gangster now that like, damn it, every time you throw a popping event where the DJ's playing hip hop, somebody's gonna get shot, stabbed, stomped, whatever. Some
Right.
drama, the police come in, a window's gonna break something, because people are trying to live up to this,
Yeah.
or it is that kind of music is drawing out that energy of
Right.
the
Or
audience.
reinforcing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but the energy matching the energy. So
Mhm.
like to your point, the opposite of it, right? Kanye starts to build this empire based on what am I going to do next, right? My next album isn't like my last album. So what's it going to be? You don't know. You
Yeah.
can't wait. And so that
100%.
and you can see artists now, underground, you know, popular regular artists like whether it's Kendrick or Billy Woods, they're doing a little bit of that, right? Where it's like,
Like, what
wait
will
till
I
you
do
hear
next?
Yeah, wait till you hear my new direction. You know,
Mhm.
um, and
That is
so
very
that's
smart. That's brilliant, actually. That is true. That's what Kanye West does. He's like, you don't know what I'm gonna come with next. I'm gonna come with some crazy shit next. He did that one song. That's not even really a song, but he's like, he just made it. He was making a point that like you can just do anything, and he's like,
Doopity doop. Yeah.
"Bloop,
Oh
bloop."
my gosh. I was at a bar and someone paid money to play that song. Yeah.
And he really is just trolling the world with shit like that. But
yep.
he made a good point, and he just does. He has a new collaborative project dropping with all these artists randomly, the Ty Dolla Sign shit. Then he's always coming out of left field and and shocking people with it, with the things um that he may do musically. And obviously, some of the controversial, crazy things that he may say. I mean,
Sure,
dude
sure.
has
Yeah. Well,
been
so
diagnosed with bipolar.
yeah. Well, and a little of it, I can't help but think, and maybe this is me as a storyteller making the end of the story, but um, that the need to event build and constantly event build
Yeah,
kind of broke him a little bit. Like
yeah,
there,
yeah.
it was
No,
he
I
didn't
agree.
give himself the space to just make a little album that he loved. You know, it had to be giant
Yeah.
and over again, and it took its toll. So yeah, that had its own problems. But um, I want to talk about Acre of Diamonds because Acres of Diamonds because I am very protective of this album. I really I really enjoy this album. Um, Kay, what were your thoughts listening to this, dude?
Oh man, it felt, you know, it reminded me of how kind of early 2000s, maybe even 2010s, like hip hop used to sound. This doesn't
Mm,
sound like modern day hip hop.
yep, yep,
Um, and it really stands out in that regard. Sonically and content wise, that it's not like a lot of what's on the market.
yeah.
Or
I mean, would you say like if I had to write like the back of the thing, like it's just a big bold thing on the back thing, it would be like dense, lean, and efficient.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like
It's
the
only 38 minutes. It's not
right,
like a long album.
it's not a long album, but the beats are nasty, overwhelming, but not super complicated, right? It's not it's so it's efficient, it's lean, but man, the stuff that you cover within this is incredible.
Mhm.
Um,
Thank
there's
you.
there's so many songs on here. I kept playing Toxic. What a song that is. Um, the Queen's Decision. Holy shit. Um, just the grounded. It's so historically grounded to that pinpoint level about how the course of history can change based on one person's decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
That song right there is obviously it's the most subject matter wise, it's the most important song that's
yeah.
dealing with important subject matter on the album, but it's also the song that just came, something came through the universe through me.
Mhm.
It's one of those songs where after the song was done, I'm like, how did I come up with this? Like where did this come from? Because I didn't ponder this subject matter like that. I mean, like I said, I have a background in my dad would be in the civil rights movement,
Sure.
my mom being a scholar. So that's there just in my household growing up. But I don't consider myself to be specifically a conscious artist that deals with political, social issues. Like I'm just an MC hip hop. I love hip hop. And I do believe variety is a part of it and things, you touch on different topics, but that song in particular kind of almost feels like, yeah, uh, uh, an artist that's like a conscious artist that makes this kind of shit, you in general would make that song. But if that's heard my album knows that that's the only song on the album that's like that. And somehow that just the universe just I was channeling something that wanted to be said, and somehow I ended up being the yeah
Conduit.
the conduit for that message that needed to be, it definitely needs to be said, it needs to be heard. It's funny that when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, this is actually in ways controversial. Even though there's nothing controversial about the things that I said, it's all historically based shit from the Queen of England to uh, the Queen of Spain to Marie Antoinette. This is all documented stuff, but just talking about the history of slavery and the repercussions that it had on us as Black people. I just noticed that in the news and all this Charlie Kirk shit and all of that kind of stuff, they've made it seem like, and you know, what is it called that they're trying to remove from the educational curriculums?
DEI? Yeah.
And critical race theory, I
Yeah,
think.
critical race theory, DEI. Yeah.
So now even talking about the history of this stuff is controversial. They like, you shouldn't even be talking about this. And I know that, you know, these people are the minority and they're able to amplify their voices through um, digital algorithms and shit. So I doubt that this loud minority of people is a big amount of, it's not a general sentiment throughout the nation, but they've been able to make inroads in getting that out there. The idea that talking about Black history in America and talking about the history of slavery and critical race theory, that's controversial. That's like, why are you even talking about that? Why you know, that shit, that's in the past. Well, if that's the case, that means that school is definitely going to stop talking about it in school. They're going to stop teaching it to kids. They're going to stop
Right.
giving people this historical context that people need to have to be able to understand each other and for us to be able to reconcile our history a little bit more. This stuff needs to be known. It needs to be general knowledge. It needs to be generally well-known, accepted knowledge and information about some of the history that has led to some of the issues that we deal with to this very day.
Hmm.
It's not just for, in reality, those kind of songs for me are not for Black people, so to speak. I'm not trying to preach to the choir and get Black people to be like, yeah, go, you say that, bro. You know, I'm actually trying to get people who might otherwise may not have known this or didn't care because they just don't need to care. So like the white kid who likes rap, but is usually listening to some
Right.
drill rap or whatever,
Right.
and they listen to it and they're able to like actually absorb what I'm saying. And they like, well, shit, I didn't even know that shit. Damn, that happened?
Yep.
Oh, for real? Okay, well, damn, maybe I need to have a little bit more empathy towards Black people's situation. And maybe I need to understand a little bit more generally about, you know, what makes America America. And how, you know, how do we get here, you know?
Yeah. The first
So
time they've
that
heard
message
about
isn't
this,
for Black people.
the first time they've heard about this outside of generic history textbooks that are giving misinformation or whatever. Um, yeah, it's key, and I think sometimes being an effective artist, like I think people who don't create sometimes are under the impression that like being a great artist means like you have vision to stuff no one has vision to, and I don't believe in that. Right?
No, because it's
What
not like that.
what I think a lot of times it is the ability to sift and cull through the information we all have to
Yep.
pinpoint on something that isn't getting thought of enough and blow it up until it radiates and becomes important to everybody. Um, and so I think that's this song is a great example of that, of being able
Yep.
to say, I'm going to put you in one exact place, hold you there, walk you through what happened, and you'll see how important this all is.
Yeah. And in a lot of ways, you know, there's a real consistent conceptual thing. It's like personal in a lot of ways what's on my album. And that song is deviates from that a little bit in that it's just talking about issues of the world. And there's a lot about my album that's very personal, just about me and what I've experienced and gone through in life and shit. But, as a black man, that the subject matter of that song does pertain to me personally, but it was more to address something that's just, in society. And like a lot of the other songs are just me kind of like putting together the whole general picture of Acres of Diamonds, which the message of that album is, starting where you're at with what you have right now, and
Mhm.
refining it to its best, and just the process of alchemy where you turn lead into gold. The lead is evident, but there's gold underneath the surface, and you have to um, put yourself and your mind into the alembic of the creative process to alchemize your own lead of your life and who you are into the gold of possibility, and to find and discover truth. You don't create the truth. The truth is already there. Truth is.
Right.
And we remove some of the extraneous elements that mask the truth as we refine ourselves, and we refine who we are based on becoming more accepting of who we are and being willing to work from where we're at instead of trying to hop all the way to here and all the way over there and go search around the whole world looking for it. It's already here within. And that starts with, me introducing myself with, show you how, all the way to me refining myself to the end with Unblinded, the truth.
No, and you can hear it on every song, right? And like Money Quips talk that shit, right? It's like I'm fly, but you're a husk of a person, you know? It's holy
Mhm.
shit. Like that's crazy. Like so yeah, and there's a sense of like don't lose track of your soul. Don't
Hmm.
lose track um of just the person you want to be, you
Hmm.
know, throughout this album. That makes it really special. Yeah. Okay, do you have any favorite songs, favorite parts? What?
Let's see. My favorite song. I I really liked so I don't know. It's a toss up between Indubitably and Inevitable.
Woo!
Yeah, a lot
I
of people. I was surprised that so many, because I played my album to friends, and so many people like Indubitably. Like
yes,
that is
yes, it's
damn near the
charming.
consistent
Yes.
favorite.
Yeah,
People are like, "Yo, you
that's
should
the
you
one.
should dress up like the Mac, or like not the Mac. What's the dude's name in the beginning of the Superfly? And because they like this song
Yeah,
like
yeah,
harkens back to
yeah.
like the some kind of black exploitation film or something.
Man,
I
I
thought
love
that was
yeah.
interesting.
Yep. Those are special
And
movies.
that's really just like me. That song right there is really me, the essence of me, just boom bap rap lyricist, braggadocio lyrics, and talk. And that song is very much so indicative of the title of the album.
Right.
I'm doing me indubitably. I'm staying true to myself, and
Yep.
that's what the Acres of Diamonds fable is really all about. Like sticking to you, and you don't need to go looking all around the world to find your diamonds.
Right.
You're probably sitting on your own acres of diamonds. You are always sitting on your own acres of diamonds within yourself.
Right.
And yeah, I've tried it in different ways to get that point across with things that I've, associated my album with, like Ralph Waldo Emerson, the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. I don't know if you guys actually have a physical copy of the album or you listen to it from.
No, we were listening to yeah, via
Jerry gave you guys that link,
yeah,
the
yeah.
private link. um, but if you get a chance to see the actual physical, the tape or the vinyl,
Mhm.
there's a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let me grab it so I can read it
Yeah.
correctly.
Oh yeah. Show. Can we see what it looks like? Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's beautiful.
Hmm.
Ooh, that's looking good. Looking
So
good.
the quote is, there's a time in every man's education when he arrives at the conviction that envy is ignorance, that imitation is suicide, that he must take himself, for better for worse, as his portion. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Wow. And that's what's been so fun about this, Pep, is like I've spent so much time looking young artists in the face and being like, I think you're gonna be amazing. I think you're gonna kill it. I think you're gonna be up next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And give them someone that can see it, you know? um, so that they can feel it within themselves more. Because sometimes you're the only fucking one seeing, it, you
Yeah.
know, and those are the hardest days. You know what I mean? Uh, I've had family members tell me when I was a writer, "Don't quit your day job," like, and they
Like
you
it's
just
really like how much this whole process of refining your own self and mining your own diamonds within yourself is how long can you endure
right,
um without the adoration, support, and encouragement from others, and
Yeah.
believe within yourself without the validation of others, and just believe within yourself that it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. I know in my mind, in my imagination, that I create and dictate the reality for myself and whatever it is that I want to have. It's finding our true power, really, that we can
Yeah.
manifest what we want, and being
yeah,
an
And what?
artist, ultimate, testing that.
Yeah. What you said, it reminded me. I loved the interlude, which was it was interesting that you had the interlude at near the end, kind of near the end
right.
of the album. But that was one of my favorite interludes. Can you describe the origin of that? Like, what made you? Where did you find that clip?
That is a clip. I found it on YouTube. It's from fuck, what is his name? He's one of the main guys that's where I got the Acres of Diamonds from one of his talks. His name is uh um I can't believe I can't remember his name because this is where it all started. He's a very popular um what is it called? Like
Like TED Talks and stuff.
announcer and radio host, narrator,
Okay.
but from like the 50s. I mean, not the
Oh
50s, from
wow.
like the 30s.
Oh wow.
30s and dirty 30s.
Um, his name is Earl Nightingale.
Earl
Earl
Night.
Nightingale.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
that was Earl Nightingale talking.
And that sounds like a detective novel lead character.
I think that was. I'm trying to think. Did I get that from one of his? I think that that might have been from uh the same audio segment that he did talking. I think he was a radio guy, so he did a lot of stuff where he would just talk and about certain things. He really talked about the success philosophy. He brought up um he brings up and alludes to a lot of things, quotes Ralph Waldo Emerson often, quotes things from what is this guy's name? The Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind stuff,
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
manifestation, success philosophy. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich type stuff,
Yep.
because a lot of what the concept that this album is based on is a lot of the kind of success philosophy manifestation, positive thinking, thought techniques, science of mind type philosophy that I really have gotten into in the last few years. So it's about promoting um, the the notion that your riches, your fortune is all in your imagination, and you manifest it through thought techniques.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's a huge part of the message that I want to get across with my album is to encourage people to know that they can have it their way, have whatever you want if you really want it, and if you are willing to focus your thought energy on that thing.
Yep. And if you can stick to what you're going to do creatively, even unsupported, and get through each day
Mhm.
having done something, gotten better at something, that's a win. You
Yeah,
can put that in the book.
and it doesn't matter what other people say. So in a lot of ways, I think people make a mistake when they want to convince other people that they have a good idea about something. You're like wasting the creative energy.
Right.
Um, and you're supposed to allow your creative visions to develop on the inside. Shut the door and develop on the inside
Yeah.
like a baby when it is gestating in their mother's womb. If
Right.
the baby was to come out too soon, the baby would die, right? The baby needs to be in the darkness and in the seclusion of the mother's womb to grow and develop.
Yeah,
And
dude.
your thoughts, your ideas, your visions, your ambitions, things that you want to see happen in your life and in the world, allow the vision to gestate on the inside in the womb of your mind before you start going and talking about it. Because, in that way you're making the mistake. But like when you try to gain validation from others, you also are um, giving them the power to approve or disapprove of what it is that you're trying to do, and
Mm.
you you're also making yourself accountable to them and what they think of what you're trying to do and whether or not you've done it. If
Yeah,
you make it,
you're exposing your vision naked with bed head and eye crusties and shit. Like you let it, you're show them the best form of your vision, right? Like let it bubble, flush it out, get it 100% done and be
yeah,
like, here's what
yeah,
I got, you
yeah.
know?
One of the things that is this Emerson? I can't remember now because there's a few select success philosophers that I listen to, but I think this is the one, Power of I Am, when he says something like, the writer says something like, "Don't point to an empty lot and tell people that I'm going to build a tower here.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
build a tower and then
Invite it when you're done. Yeah.
and open the doors to it
Yeah.
and invite people into the tower, or tell them after you've built the tower, look, I built this tower. But by the time you've done all the work and everything that it takes to build the tower, and the tower is there. It's evident. You no longer now feel the need to try to get people to approve of what you've done, and you've done it now. So,
Mm.
that's what I think, in a lot of ways, that's what Nightingale is talking about in that clip before the song. Uh,
Oh, I get which is I do love that song. So let me give the title.
crazy, I can't remember the title of my own song right now. Oh, I got the album cover right
My
next.
heart, my
My
heart
Heart
to
to Yours.
yours.
Yeah, My Heart to Yours. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that there's a I remember Billy Woods once said that like it's not about the last song, it's about the last two songs
Mhm.
because the song before the last song needs to bring you to the last song.
Mhm.
Like there's songs kind of feed with each other and man, the last two songs on this really prove that out for me.
Uh-huh.
My Heart to Yours and Unblinded. I can't imagine them not running into one another,
Yeah,
and it's an incredible way to end the album. Uh,
yeah,
it's my favorite in the sequencing run. Yeah.
yeah. Those two songs really are like almost more the like straightforward sentiment that this album expresses for me personally, for my own personal life's um journey that led me to this album. Those two songs are very much so emblematic for it. You know, the whole Acres of Diamonds. For me, for Pep Love in my life, those songs are very personal, you know.
Even the even the sample, right? I'm thinking about Nina's voice in
Mhm.
that,
Oh
right?
man.
And like I'm just thinking about how raw she left herself
Mhm.
emotionally for her art. You know what I mean? Like
Definitely.
screen I'm yours right now. Like
Yeah.
the life of a creative person is so different in that way. That
Yeah.
sacrifice, you know what I mean? And we all need to make sure we keep that in mind that like that people are giving that shit to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that and that's why I'm not overwhelmingly mean to artists, with albums because I know like you really put your heart into this most of the time.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely. I mean, and that album is a format that has not started to, but in recent years, I've heard more and more, especially from people who like work in the music industry who have like all these hard and fast ideas about the way that you have to do it these days in this modern day way. And you hear it often. And it's like, well, why are you putting out an album? Does the world want to hear an album from you? Like almost like an album to create and release an album is like a special privilege for artists that have gained a certain amount of fame and notoriety. And for anybody else, it's like a superfluous endeavor to put out an album.
yeah. The album is not dying out. Dying out would indicate that it is a natural thing. The album is under attack.
Yeah, yeah,
It is under attack by forces that want to shorten and commodify
yeah.
everything. So, yeah, it's not dying, guys. It's being assassinated. So,
Because even if you put an album out on streaming, they make it to where your album can be just torn apart into little bits and pieces. It's just a bunch of songs, really. It can be played in whatever order. It can be just this one song or whatever. And I think people, because there's songs on albums that don't become like the popular song, from back in the 90s and shit. And then I'll go back and listen to that album and be like, yo, what the fuck? This joint right here, this song right here. When you just take the time, like if you're on a long road trip and I don't know, you're just not skipping as much as you normally would. And you just play, and somebody else I'm driving in, my homie that's in the passenger seat is playing music. And he just happens to
Mhm.
decide to play, Cannabis's album, his first album or whatever. Or I don't know, fucking any artist that you know of, that you know a few songs of, and you've heard their album or whatever, but you haven't heard it in a while, so your mind is still mostly familiar with their most popular song, and then you go back and listen to the album, and you like, damn, if I wasn't in this situation right now to where it's more convenient for me to listen to a whole album. I wouldn't listen to this album and I wouldn't have realized how good this song is because this is an album cut. You know, there's a lot of songs that don't necessarily lend themselves to you just playing that song by itself. It's a song that you
Mhm.
probably would listen to more so if you listen to a whole album. But
In
when you
context.
take the time to actually listen to the whole album so you do experience that song that is more deep in the album and somehow
you're right.
flies under the radar or whatever, you realize that dang, some of this work that I that you some of this music that you get from artists that kind of you gain your opinion about whether you like the song or not is really based on like context. And if you didn't listen to it in the album context, you might not get it. You might not listen to it at all. So you might miss out on something that's dope, really,
Mhm.
in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
No, it's the story. You got to take in the story, you know? And that's critical. Um, yeah. No, this is I just want to make sure that this album gets to live its life out in public, right? In the car, you know? Play it by the swimming pool. I want this album to be able to go places, and hit new ears and all that. So I'm excited for it to.
Well,
Um,
on that subject, there is a whole different approach that I'm going with this album. I think there's a possibility that there's in the future there's ways that it could be experienced more often in just, regular day-to-day scenarios. But right now, with the initial release of the album, I'm targeting special occasions, listening
yep, yep,
experience,
yep.
um, connoisseurs, collectors, enthusiasts. So in that way, we're looking to have the album strategically placed, have, you know, even if we got to comp a few copies, but try to make sure that, and then even create a directory to tell people, like, if this album, because it's a limited run, so once it's sold out, it's sold out. There won't be
Right.
any more. So if the album is sold out, or you don't want to pay for the price, because I am charging a premium price for this album, 150 for the
Sure.
vinyl,
Value.
175 for the tape, the whole nine. Um, but if you don't want to pay for that, wherever we can place the album and put that um, establishment in our directory of places that you can go to hear the album, we will. If all the places that will allow it, like hi-fi bars, places like the Gold Line in LA, places like Bar Shiru. These are all places that have, hi-fi vinyl systems with real dope speakers, with top-notch turntable and needle cartridges that, this is
Oh,
for hi-fi listening. So, and
Mhm.
this is a trend that is growing all around the world. And this started in Tokyo, Japan, this jazz kisa thing, where you
yep.
go to a jazz bar and they serve Japanese whiskey and special cocktails in a bowl or whatever. It's for a a special occasion music listening
Fascinating. Yeah.
experience. You know,
You know, I
Awesome.
like that because you're turning the album into an event.
yes,
You know what I mean? Like you can't, like, you're putting it into that bar when that person, is deciding where to go out for the night. They're
hmm
thinking like, damn, like I love that album that they played. The only place that I've heard that album is that place. I'm
yeah,
gonna
Right.
go to that place.
yeah,
So then their relationship with the work becomes way different than, some other guy who's just at home, like going on Spotify or something, and like,
yeah.
oh, yeah,
Right.
that's cool. Like,
Exactly.
yo, I'm
It's a
doing some cooking.
higher
Let me put that on.
Exactly. It's a higher caliber, intentional engagement
Yes.
to
Mm.
experience this album. And it's starting to build a symbiotic relationship between me as the artist and the establishments that support and play music, like a hi-fi jazz bar in Tokyo, Japan, in Hamburg, Germany, in New York City, in Los Angeles, in Brooklyn, whatever. This is a thing that's popping up, and this is something that's been needed for a long time for hip hop culture in general. Is more of a grassroots kind. Everybody's looking
Mm.
to go viral first instead of
Hmm.
be bubbling up on the underground, be bubbling up in these grassroots experiences, and now you have something that is associated with a nice time, with a special occasion, with luxury that's also associated with music, and that's these new jazz kisa Tokyo style whiskey hi-fi bars that are popping up all over the world, really. And
Oh yeah.
it's a fly experience too. It's something, whether they hear my album or not. When people go to Bar Shiru, when people go to the Gold Line, they're like, "Yo, this was a special night out," because we
Right,
went to the
Yeah.
right.
spot where they're playing all vinyl and this like the decor and the acoustics are all there to maximize my enjoyment and my engagement with music.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the cooperation of in this symbiotic relationship, we can literally promote this. You can, we can have a post every so often that says, yeah, this is the Acres of Diamonds experience, and this is the directory of different um, hi-fi bars and listening situation, hi-fi cafes where you can go request. You can be like, if you don't have the album, you haven't bought it on it, you can't listen to it because it's not on streaming. Then you can go to Bar Shiru and be like, yo, I've read Pep Loves, and then they'll start to appreciate the connection between having an artist that's sending people to your business, right? So they can be like, yeah, I saw on Hyro's website that you guys have a copy of Pep Love's album Acres of Diamonds. I would like to order a whiskey highball, and as soon as there's a slot for you to start to play Pep's album, maybe after this next album, then I want you guys to play that album.
Damn.
And I
So
think
these
that's
bars are like
a relationship.
these bars are coming like the new like '90s clubs, because it sounds
Yeah,
like a lot of what the strategy you're using sounds like kind of how they used to break music back in the '90s in clubs. Now
yeah,
you're just taking
but
that and bringing it to
exactly.
wow.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
it's just like it's the difference is that hi-fi bars are just for listening. The club was for dancing. They had a lot of these spots about really
Yeah.
about having you sit down and the music is played at a low level so you can kind of talk still and listen to the music and shit. So it's a different. The goal more is to just get people to listen, not as much to get people to party and to get people to be in a relaxed, um, you know. Comfortable decor, well, not decor, but ambiance that will encourage them to um, relax and to what is it called? Continue the chain of commerce. Buy a drink, buy some appetizers, whatever, and sit
Mm.
here and relax and take your time at least 38 minutes and listen to my whole album while you're chilling at the hi-fi bar. And we are also we're helping to build this bridge of a symbiotic relationship that can continue on after this album, the next single, next thing we drop, we send it to our directory of spots, and we ask them to make it available to the people who come into to the establishment and specifically ask. And then in a lot of ways we can get some good stats too, like
Yep.
how
Yeah,
many times did
absolutely.
people play the people ask to play the album, and what do we learn from that? And I
That's
just think it's cool in general to start to create more of this real world kind of like, for those who know, if you know, type shit. To
Hmm.
where, if you know that this spot is one of the cool spots that actually plays cool shit, and you can go listen to exclusive shit that you can't normally get, then it starts to create that whole little that mystique that we grew up on, where everything wasn't just so easily available, spoon fed to you. Sometimes you had to really be excited, enthusiastic, and into some shit to even be able to find it and catch it.
Mm.
And I think that is good for the culture, not having things be so easily available. Make people have to and then want to get up and go somewhere and engage in an activity to to have certain musical experiences. And not just like the biggest ones of the year, like not just when you're ready to go to Coachella or outside, like
Mm.
sometimes it's just like on a special Friday night, we want to go to the hi-fi bar and we want to hear Pep's album or the next Hyro album or whatever, the next you know, album from a project from an artist that also follows this same similar pathway of trying to get the music to the fans and the listeners in more of a high level engagement type way. This is just almost scientific research. I'm always looking for a way, especially because that's become a little bit of an issue with streaming. So often I be like chilling with people. I could be chilling with a chick and we just having a good time and getting, relaxed, and she's playing music and I'm like, damn, what is that? That's dope.
Mhm.
And on multiple occasions, I've had people be like, this is just this one playlist. And I'm like, the playlist? That's what you, and you, I'm pretty sure that most times the people don't even know the name of the playlist, let alone the name of the
Yeah, yeah.
artist, let alone the name of the song.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so this is a challenge. It's an interesting challenge is how can we get the music listener culture to be a little bit more,
Active.
yeah,
Yeah.
more active, more skin in the game, more engaged, more like, okay, I really know what I have a specific interest in Acres of Diamonds from this
Right.
artist, Pet Love, that, yeah, and the things that are specific to this album, that one song, and you know the name of the song, Toxic, whatever.
Right.
Indubitably.
Yeah. It's been a big focus for us to talk about how people are listening and processing the music, right? Like, um, is this an afternoon album? Is this a morning album? Is this, a clean your house album, right? Like, where does this live in your life, right? Where does this live in your day? Why does it live there? What attributes get to, like, it's audiences certainly in the underground are more thoughtful than they've ever been, right?
Mhm.
Uh, in the pop space, it's the opposite. Uh,
Mhm.
it's just how it is.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, yeah.
Well,
Oof.
I would say for my album, this is a luxury special occasion um, for people who enjoy luxury, who have an appreciation for the finer things and
Right.
finer experiences in life. So for people who will go to Del Frisco's or Ruth Chris more so than people who are going to In-N-Out Burger and McDonald's,
Right, right,
people who have enough of an appreciation for or sophisticated enough to have people in their lives that will bring them to an environment where music is being highlighted on a as music is being highlighted and put on a pedestal in a certain way and as the centerpiece of the experience that they're having, which is also a special occasion luxury type experience. That is the initial place that in the place, time, and environment and the people in which that I am aiming the marketing for this album, and even the sound I think fits with that too.
Yeah,
The aesthetic,
I
absolutely.
mean,
you know.
Acres of Diamonds is not White Castle music. It is not. It is not White
Yeah.
Castle music.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
back in the day when HBO used to be HBO, you
mm,
know, and you knew those shows had been vetted and combed through and were well cast and like, oh shit, I got to see this, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's the level this is at. Uh,
indeed.
and people
I
need to
will
check
say.
it out. People need to put the money down. Um, Kay, do you have additional questions?
No, no.
Wow,
Well,
I got a
thanks,
lifetime of
guys.
questions, but I got to say, let's go to recommendation corner. I'm doing an all hieroglyphics recommendation corner.
Work,
Okay, it's just where we talk about music we're bumping, right?
work.
Uh, and so I'm gonna do an all hiero version here. I'm gonna go A plus, my last good deed. Hell of a project.
Hell
Hell
of a
of a
project.
uh, A plus is super slept on as an MC and as a producer. The production legacy is so incredible for A
Yeah.
plus. Uh, the the second one is behind you, Montezuma's Revenge. Uh, That's incredible. Love that album.
Is that's the album that they did with Prince Paul is That's Montezuma's Revenge?
I thought that was maybe. Whoa, oh, the Adrian Young is after that one. Right, 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 right. Yeah, I
Oh
think that.
yeah, no, because they do have this Montezuma thing on here. So
Right.
yeah, this is that album. This is like because it has like a whole like engravement that you would see in like
Yep.
one of those
Yep.
Machu Picchu
Yep.
pyramids and shit, step pyramids.
I love that album. 2009, crazy, crazy, beautiful thing. The last one, and because I told you everybody had their favorites in the crew, right? My favorite was always Opio, who is also on Acres of Diamonds.
Mhm.
I love Opio and Vulture's Wisdom Volume One. People,
Ah,
people need to hit Vulture's Wisdom Volume One. That is some beautiful West Coast shit right there. Beautiful stuff. The last thing I wanted to ask you, that I did, is we did an episode called West Coast Hall of Fame Second Ballot, right? Assuming the premise was everybody knows who the first ballot would be in the West Coast Hall of Fame, right? Some variation. Dr. Dre, the basics. But who's in the second class? Who's in the third class? The whole premise of the reason we did it was because New York is such a media center for hip hop. We just felt like there weren't necessarily enough historians fighting for the legacy of people like E Swift, people like RBX, that weren't necessarily, on that DJ Quick level, who honestly, people that's slipped, right? In terms of people knowing the contributions of Quick. Do you think do you see this as a real issue that there isn't enough like historians fighting for the legacy of these foundational West Coast artists, or is that just something that's just how it looks from outside?
um, I just think like documenting history of and um giving people their the right position in history
Yeah,
is kind of a fickle thing in general. And I think there's a lot of significant, people and contributions that can easily get lost in the shuffle when it comes to like, you know, a one individual or a group of individuals discretion to include them into their own, uh, documentation of history.
right,
And I think artists can't really bet on that. You got to just do what you do and continue to be an artist. So as
right.
long as you're alive, you can't you got to avoid had thinking like that. I personally believe
Oh,
you got to
okay,
avoid thinking about being how you would be consigned into history. Think about your next best move
right.
and executing it. So I
Stay
just
with what you
it's,
can
I
control.
think it's
Yeah,
really it's a really risky bet to hope that some because this has at the end of the day this has to be done by people. Somebody has to decide
yeah,
and I've even with this album there's like little mistakes, very minor, nothing that anybody would really notice, but a couple of mistakes got made and it was multiple people. They got a chance to look at,
right.
listen to, review, what is it called? Approve or disapprove of things. And certain things everybody missed. Like, oh shit, I forgot. We forgot to da 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 da. And that can definitely happen to where, there may be 100 different writers that are all coming together to write the history of hip hop. Historians, good people with good intentions and everything. But they may all start talking to each other and kind of all start to develop the same little blind spots and shit.
That's just another human. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
another
just human.
human.
It's just humanity, you know.
Yeah,
And
no, that's fair.
they forget to write about Freaky Ty from the
Right,
Lost
right.
Boys. You know, they just might have forgot.
And so it is like, yeah, focusing on being underappreciated is an inherently negative space. That doesn't give you, yeah, that doesn't yield
You can't
positive.
because you really can't bet on you. It's not a safe bet to be like, yeah, all of the historians that write about hip hop, they better remember to say my name and include my name in this shit. And if they don't, does that mean that your contribution is any less than it was? It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't really.
Right. You're now focused on stuff that's out of your control. And so you're not in a position of strength. That's fair. Um,
So
yeah,
just keep
yeah,
trying to make your next bet. There's artists need to remember that you started from nothing. This was a complete long shot at first. So now that you've actually done it and had some success, is it more because the game has changed a little bit? Is your next best move something trying to do something new, dropping a project with another artist producing a disco record? I don't know what doing some whole other shit, dropping shit on vinyls and cassettes and dropping 45s, whatever. Is that such a risky trying something new as
right.
an established known artist? Is that really that risky? Is it more risky to not do to just kind of be like, well, I don't do this shit no more, but I'm just hoping that they will give
Right.
me my flowers when it's time?
I'm going to dump it along with all the data that's on your regular streaming site next to all
Exactly.
the other stuff
My
and hope that
catalog.
it hits. Hope that it hits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and hope,
Yeah.
and just hope.
Yeah. That's
Instead,
fair.
just keep doing your fucking thing because we still got more creativity in us, no matter what we've done in the past. And the act of creating and using that part of your brain and your mind is good for. It's a healthy activity. It's a
Yeah.
healthy activity. It
Right.
staves off, you know, it staves off Alzheimer's and
That
Parkinson's
too. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
dementia and shit. You know,
Yeah. It
and
keeps you,
stress.
yeah, it keeps you going. Absolutely. So what have you been listening to? What have you been bumping?
Um, what have I been listening to? I ain't gonna lie, the last few weeks I've just been listening to like records because I'm, been staying here at the lab at the Hyro building. So I've been just listening to like records. Last night I was listening to what was I listening to last night? I was listening to
Vinyl. You got the vinyl.
Mel Brown. I'd rather suck my thumb.
That's beautiful.
Record? Oh
That's
shit.
beautiful. That's awesome.
But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of old
Yeah.
jazz and soul and blues and stuff records. Ramsey Lewis, John Lucian,
Woo.
that kind of stuff.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, I like the contemporary jazz scene. I really like a lot of the stuff that's coming out from International Anthem. I don't know if you ever heard of that label.
Yeah.
They have the band Salt,
Yeah, definitely.
Cleo Soul,
Real soul. Yeah. Inflow. Yeah.
and I think is Nubia Garcia. Is she? I think she might be an international
Um,
anthem artist too. But I like jazz. I like the London. I like what's going on with the
UK
London
scene
scene
is
jazz
strong.
here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, I like R&B and shit too. So and these
Yeah, me
albums
too.
ain't new, but I've been listening to IHY from Iman Omari for like the last fucking 5 years. I've been jamming that album a lot. It's been a few months since I listened to it, but that's just one of the ones that I always come back to.
Yeah.
Um, there's a dude by the name of Ro James. I really love
Oh,
his
Bro James is dope. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, that's it's a great point that when people are doing album of the year lists and shit like that, uh soul music and R&B music, it kind of goes beyond all that shit. Like there's
yeah,
things where I'm like, I'm ranking it, but I'm like, it may be number 15, but I'm gonna listen to this shit for the next 5, 10 years. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
And a lot of these joints above it are gonna be here and there gone, but like
Mhm.
it's that music connects in a different way. Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, the pop shit like comes and goes, but the real soul shit stands the test of time.
We were talking about that with Groove Theory, Kay.
Mhm.
Remember that? We were getting into that. But yeah, the that's awesome. Those are great picks. Yeah, check out the UK jazz scene. Nubia Garcia is a great pick.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I like another one is and this is like more of an R&B and rap group from the UK. They're called the Children of Zeus. I really like their shit a lot. They're from Manchester, I do believe. I met one of the guys from the group when we were on tour in Europe last summer before last.
that's dope. That's dope. I
Um,
mean, yeah.
One of my favorite guys all around in rap that is not talked about a lot is Tom Scott. I don't know if you ever heard of Tom Scott.
No, never heard of it.
Tom Scott is from a group called he was in a group. They were like the biggest, you know, Australia has a very small scene,
Mhm.
but Tom Scott, Rise Ibiza, these are guys from down there.
Okay.
Um
Tom Scott. Yeah, I added a Children of Zeus album. Check that out.
Tom
Uh,
Scott was in
uh,
Homebrew was the name Homebrew and At Peace. And but I discovered Tom Scott when he did this album with one of his guys from New Zealand. One of the I can't remember the other guy's name. But he's a Maori, some like, you know, Polynesian dude. Um, and their group was called the Average Rap Band. But dude is just really dope lyricist, and he embodies that whole rebellious, I just do my own thing type of vibe that the skate community, that really is the attitude of the skate community that loves rap.
Absolutely.
Tom,
No,
Tom
that's
Scott embodies that in a lot of ways. He don't give no fucks about no pop. He doesn't care about popularity and fame, but he is a very prolific artist. So, you know, he became one of the biggest artists in New Zealand.
that's dope. Yeah, I gotta check that out. Kay, what have you been bumping? Are you there? Oh, did I freeze up? What happened?
Did we lose him?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I'm here. What's up?
Yeah, yeah, I'm still
Yeah.
here.
Okay. So what were you bumping?
Okay, so this weekend I saw a movie called Sentimental Value. It's like a European movie. Um which had one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. Well, not ever heard, but one of the best soundtracks I've heard recently. And so during the movie they played the song that was so good, like I had to get my phone out and I shazammed it right in the movie theater. But it was a song called Canic Chase by Labi Siffre. So for like the past week I've been listening to his album that came from, called Crying, Laughing, Loving, Lying. So that would be my recommendation.
You, Kay, you do such a good job of staying up on movies. You would I on freemusicempire.com, I would totally run your list and descriptions of favorite movies of the year.
Oh man, I mean
That'd be fun as
that
hell, dude.
I mean, it was incredible because, like I say, it's a European movie and it has subtitles, but the soundtrack is very jazz R&B influenced. So it just goes to show you how, you know, how widely loved
Laughing,
around the
loving,
world
lying,
the form. Huh?
crying, laughing, loving, lying.
Yes,
By
Yeah.
who?
Labri Chiffre.
Okay, I know. I'm wait. So okay.
And
Yeah.
it's funny because Kanye, like you've heard "I Wonder" by Kanye.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I wonder. That's him. That's Labi Siffre.
Oh, they're singing on the hook. That's it.
Yes.
I thought that was something that he sampled.
Yeah, that's Labi Siffre. Yeah, they sampled, and that song is actually on this album, this project,
Oh, okay. It is something that he sampled from their original work. It
Yeah,
didn't have.
yeah.
his
Okay,
work.
so
Yeah,
Labre Sife, how you spell that?
I think it's all right. Labb. Let me get Labissiffre.
Beautiful, man.
SI.
Ffre.
Okay. Labby Seafray. Okay.
Yeah,
That's dope. That sounds
crying,
great.
laughing, loving, lying, and the song that really resonated with me. It's a Canic Chase.
Mm.
Beautiful song.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Oh,
Yeah, it's oh, I don't know if you've heard this. Okay, but like so um James Gunn, who runs the DC universe,
Right.
put out a list of his favorite, what do you say, top 50 alternative hip hop songs of 2025, right?
Wow.
And all littered throughout our guests on the show. Like it's crazy. Prem Rock is on there,
Mhm.
and Billy Woods is on there. Brother Ali with the wonderful album he
Oh,
had
I didn't
last
realize
year.
James Gunn had such great taste, music
Now,
taste.
here's what's gonna really fuck you up,
All
right?
right.
Sun Mundi's got 2 joints on there, dude.
Wow.
Sun Mundi and Sasco. I've been
Wow.
writing about Sun Mundi before Sun Mundi had an album, dog. Like I made my own Sun Mundi album out of loose songs he had released and wrote about him before he had an album.
Oh,
And
yeah. I mean, he's another one that's on the ascent.
we got to book him for our Free Music Empire show in Brooklyn, and contacting with Sun Mundi and Sasco is one of the best albums of this year. It's unbelievable to see that kind of, that kind of a set and be a little tiny part of the story is really dope.
Absolutely.
So yeah, shout out to that, man.
That Prim Rock. I know that name. Where do I know that name
Woo,
from?
Shrapnel. He's half of Shrapnel with Curly Castro.
With Castro, huh?
Yep. He's on Backwoods. Yeah, run by Woods, Bill Woods, and all that.
Shrapnel. Is it spelled like
No,
SHR?
SHRAPKNEL. Yeah.
K.
Yep. Yep. And that's yeah. But yeah, he's got it. He's got a solo album this year, Prem Rock, that had a song on there. I think it was Receipts with Billy Woods. Oof, crazy. That's beautiful. So I'm glad to see that love for everybody there. You know, yeah,
Word.
uh, good deal. That's
I
Thank
will
you, Pet Love,
definitely
for
be looking
taking
up.
the time for being here. This was
Oh
awesome.
man, thank you so much.
No doubt, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys and appreciate the opportunity and you guys really showing some earnest interest in listening to the music and actually
Mhm.
knowing the songs. I didn't
Absolutely.
expect that. I
No, it's
appreciate it.
we you got to be more intentional. Everybody's got to be more intentional, you know.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
yeah, that would be my parting message, right? Like,
Indeed.
uh,
That's one of the goals that I have with this album is to have people be to live to pursue the experience of listening to it with more intention. Don't wait for this to just fall into your lap and be spoon fed to you. Like
right,
if you're interested, if there's something about me and the message of what I've said here in this interview that strikes a chord with you, do what you got to do to be able to hear the album, even if you don't buy it. Like this is one of the main things that I say when I kind of tell people what my goals are with this album and the relationship that I want to have with the audience
Mhm.
is even if you um I want you to buy the album even if you don't listen to it, and I want you to listen to the album even if you don't buy it.
Just real, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's and yeah, for the audience, teach your children to be intentional, and once
Yeah.
they learn, let them teach you back.
Yes.
What will tomorrow